Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Crunch Time podcast with the N326 duo. With your hosts, Sam Godze and Tanner Dislin. The clock is winding down. It's time for Crunch Time.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 215 of Crunch Time with the N326 duo. I'm your host today, Sam Godsey, and with me today, as always, is Tanner Dislin. Tanner, how are you feeling?
Sam, how can I not be feeling good? Knicks are officially going to the conference finals. Swept Philly 4-0 relatively easily. It was a pretty awesome series, and to get those two done in Philly, neither of them particularly close, felt pretty good. Both of us are into the conference finals, actually, now that we say that. Knicks and Thunder both moving on. Other two, our opponents are still being figured out, but a pretty good round for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Second round seemed to be a breeze for both of our teams. But Tanner, where do you want to start here?
I mean, you know me, man. I'm excited to talk about it. I feel like we got to start in Philly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I believe last time we had talked, it was a 2-0 series. Is that correct?
We recorded last Wednesday. So, yeah,
Wednesday was game 2.
Yeah.
So, yes. So, since we've last recorded, New York went into Philly, not just the team, the fans invaded Philly and won those two games rather convincingly, especially game 4. And I mean, the stadium in Philly was almost entirely Knicks fans, loud, screaming and yelling when Philly was at the line, obviously loud, let's go Knicks chants when the Knicks were winning those games, and some interesting comments from players that I think we can get into, and maybe a little bit bigger conversation about Philly and specifically Philly as a basketball city, because this was, dare I say, borderline embarrassing for the city.
Yeah, it does. It seemed New York took over Philly. You always hear how great Philly is as a sports town. That wasn't the case in this one. New York definitely took over. I mean, Josh Hart commenting saying I thought this was a better sports town, and he even is an Eagles fan, I believe. So yeah, definitely shocking with the vibes around Philly being named one of those top sports cities. They just got not only outclassed on the floor, but also in the stands.
No doubt about it, Sam. Now, where I want to get into this, obviously the basketball was one thing. I think we all kind of agreed that Philly's roster was better than a 7 seed, that they could possibly make some noise. But in the end, I think a lot of people agreed that the same flaws that were with Philly most of the year, it was just too much to overcome for them to really win this series. But I think we were all surprised at how it played out. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, 100%.
But outside of the basketball, because obviously I'm a Knicks fan, I'm very biased. The Knicks look incredible. I don't know what was said. I don't know what was said after game 3 in Atlanta, because game 2 in New York, they blew that fourth quarter lead. Game 3, they flat out lost. They had a last minute possession to try and win that game. Ended up turning it over. Fell down 2-1 in that series to Atlanta. That's when it was like, this team feels like this team's going to get boat raced by Boston in the next round. I don't know what was said, but my God, did it have an effect, because the Knicks are playing incredible basketball now, won 6 straight. Only the second hottest behind Oklahoma City, who's won all 8 of their playoff games thus far. But they've won 6 straight, and I have some stats to back that up, Sam, because I feel like a lot of comparisons are being drawn from this Knicks team to the 90s, which is probably their last era of great basketball. Patrick Ewing's Knicks in those 90s, they played 153 playoff games over 15 seasons. That's a substantial amount. If you combine the margins of victory from their biggest playoff wins, seven biggest wins over those 15 years, it adds up to 171 points. That's cherry picked seven biggest over the last 15 years. The Knicks have won their last 7 games this run by 185. And the 7 cherry picked from Patrick Ewing is 171.
Interesting.
That's crazy.
I'm curious what the score differential is. Is it because they were just scoring less points? I'm sure.
I mean, we're comparing eras here, which particularly in basketball is fairly tough to do.
Yeah.
But I think the point still stands. Obviously, I also feel like a lot of the heavy lifting is being done by the 50-point win, in game, what was that, 6 in Atlanta. But still, the point is they're playing incredible basketball. They're outscoring their opponents by a ton, at a rate that has never been seen in franchise history, basically. So the Knicks look great. I think now is a classic example of getting into rest versus rust because they're playing great basketball.
Yeah.
Is the rest a good thing? Is the rest a bad thing? Time will tell. But on the court, I think the story here, more so than anything, is just how good.
Yeah, they've looked dominant. They're on a path I don't think a lot of people projected them to be on. I mean, right now, I think it's kind of their east to lose. But we'll see how that pans out these next couple of rounds. But yeah, Knicks are one of the hottest teams in the NBA right now. And yeah, it's impressive. I mean, Brunson is playing as good as ever. No shocker there, but the supporting cast is complimenting very well.
I mean, Karl-Anthony Towns, again, since that turning point in game 3 against Atlanta, he's playing the best basketball maybe of his career. Obviously, the points aren't necessarily what they were at some points in Minnesota, but the best all-around basketball. He's becoming arguably their best facilitator on the floor. Like, the team has just unlocked layers and layers of depth because of what Cat can do as a facilitator. And then off the bench, guys like Deuce McBride, specifically in that game 4 against Philly when he shut the lights out of the ball. Like, it's going to be really, really hard to stop this team. Obviously, the matchup that, if we're talking about how hot these teams are, the matchup that a lot of people are predicting is Knicks Thunder, and that would be really interesting because the Thunder obviously have not lost a game and they're the best team in basketball. So all that will be interesting. But yeah, it's incredible the way the Knicks are playing. Certainly the best team I've had in my lifetime, and playing the best in the postseason. All eyes are on OG. I think with that injury, being able to win these last 2 in Philly without OG, you can just kind of give him those days off to rest and heal up. And then obviously the added rest from the other series being 2-2 could really help this team get healthy. But again, maybe that's some of that, how hot they've been, maybe that fades off. But I don't know. It's hard to not be excited.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like we said, they are one of the hottest teams in the NBA for sure. You mentioned the Cavs Pistons series tied 2-2. A lot of close competitive games in this one. Game 1, the Pistons won 111-101. Cavs or game 2, 107-97. Cavs have won the last 2, 116-109, and then again 112-103 on Monday. Talk to me about this series, man.
It's been fun. Like it's obviously there's not there's not much, I don't know, what's like bad blood. I feel like the storylines coming into this round was mostly New York and Philly, New York and Philly, especially after Philly and Boston. Um, and that's not necessarily the case going into this series. Cleveland and Detroit is kind of like, not much history there. But the series has been great. I mean, both teams are obviously very good. Um, it's been it's just been back and forth, hard fought. Both the home teams have won every game thus far. Game 5 going back to Detroit should be very interesting. Obviously, we know the stats when it's 2-2 with the game 5. With the game 5, what that means for the rest of the series, all of that stuff. So that'll be must watch. But I mean, it's great basketball. It's these two teams going back and forth. I I don't really know how much because they seem evenly matched, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
You got this story obviously is going to be headlined by the stars, Donovan Mitchell and Cade Cunningham. I mean, they've been battling it back and forth. 23, each had 23 game 1. Game 2, Mitchell had 31, Cunningham 25. Game 3, Cunningham 27, Mitchell 35. Game 4, Donovan Mitchell dropped 43. Cade Cunningham didn't have his best game, but Karis LeVert, name we haven't heard in a while, had 24,
Yeah.
led the Pistons. This one has been really fun, and like you said, there's a lot of similarities between this team. They have their star, with obviously Mitchell and Cade Cunningham, but you also have a great matchup between Mobley and Duran, or Allen and Duran, and then you have Bias Harris, who's is kind of aging, but once was like a face of a franchise. And when he during his time with the Magic, you obviously have James Harden.
where the exact same can be said about James Harden.
Yeah.
Aging. We know the off field stuff. We know the history in the playoffs, but they're both older. They've both been face of the franchise. Both of them are helping a younger star as the number 2 option.
Yeah. It's been a very fun series for sure. But anything else on this series?
Just critical game 5. The stats are out there somewhat. Damn near 80% of game 5 winners win the series.
Yeah. It's been a fun series. Another fun series on the other side. Spurs Timberwolves has been an awesome series. This one kind of got out. It's so weird. Like every game has been competitive, back and forth. But game 2, the Spurs just wiped the floor with this Timberwolves team, winning 133-95. Talk to me.
I mean, you know where I want to go immediately.
I have a feeling where you're going to head.
The elbow heard around the world. Sam.
Yeah.
Shock. I'd never seen Wemby show that much emotion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess positive euphoric emotion after hitting a 3 or making a dunk or blocking a shot.
Yeah.
I've never seen Wemby show that. I didn't know he had that. I didn't know what was that all about. As far as I know, there wasn't much bad. And who he elbowed
Naz Reid.
Naz Reid. He was just he wasn't really even in the play. It wasn't the one pestering him. It was just kind of behind as he kind of walks around on Wemby's back. He just elbows him. What?
Yeah.
That was shocking. And as we know now, I believe we're recording on Tuesday. Game 5 is tonight.
Correct.
So Wemby's playing in this game. No fine, no
insane to me.
Yeah. Now I wonder how much of that. I mean, you're always balancing this because he's had no priors. We're all kind of surprised by it, but at the same time, it was about as dirty as it got. And shout out the officiating crew, and shout out I don't know if it's actually the decision of the on court refereeing crew, if it goes to a off-site group, but I feel like a lot of people wouldn't have the cojones to throw out one of the best players in basketball in the playoffs, and they recognized it was a dirty play and said, "You need to go."
Yeah.
So shout out that crew for having the correct call, but I'm gathering you were surprised by
Yeah,
by the
100%.
no suspension.
Yeah, if it was anyone else on that floor, I think he's not playing tonight. The weight of having the last name Wembanyama being the up and coming face of the NBA definitely carries weight into this decision. I think if anyone argues that is insane. Even like no fine is personally, I think fines are a bunch of bullshit in the NBA because it never is significant enough to where it matters. But like there was just no punishment. I personally didn't have an issue with him throwing an elbow. It was the fact it was almost meditating because if you watch the replay, he's like this, winds up and goes bam.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of a play in the playoffs. Ron Artest, who I think was Meta World Peace at the time with the Lakers. You know, the play against James Harden, who was on the Thunder at the time, literally we just did the same thing, reared up and just going back to your question about if it was anyone else, I'd be very curious if it was like, I'm trying to think of a good example here. Like Karis LeVert.
Yeah.
Like a bench player who could come in and like Karis LeVert is like I would say is a key piece. Like he plays valuable minutes for the Cavaliers. And like he's not the star that Wemby is. But he also doesn't have the like if what's his name? If Draymond Green did this, he would obviously be suspended because he's done
100%.
before. If I don't know, if maybe Joel Embiid did this because he has also some physical maybe he gets suspended. Karis LeVert, no priors, but at the same time isn't Wemby. I'd be very curious to see what the ruling was there. But yeah. I was just completely floored by it. I didn't see anything. Like he just it was dirty as hell, and they got him out. So hopefully he's able to play with his emotions in check in the future because obviously they lost that game, and this is a 2-2. This is a 2-2 series, and they're gonna need arguably the best player, certainly the best defensive player in the league, to show up.
Yeah, 100%. But you saw Wemby get kicked out of this one. It was still a competitive game. 109 to 114. Was that 109, 114. It was like De'Aaron Fox just kind of ran out of gas down the stretch. But yeah, it seems Naz Reid, Julius Randle kind of got in his head, and we haven't seen that. Was it the pressure of the moment? It's going to be very interesting to see how he performs tonight. If he brushes it off, rolls it off his back, and is a dominant force we have seen, or does he reflect on that and it's like gets a little mental with his game, not being so focused and being the dominant force we've come to know Wemby being.
Yeah, one thing working in his favor, they are home. Yeah. Obviously, you can imagine what an away crowd would be like.
Yeah,
the day after the game after you get ejected for throwing all that stuff.
Yep.
So pivotal game 5, set it for in the East as well. Very similar situations our teams are. Dominant sweep, and the other series is in a hard fought battle.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of that, other sweep in the West, we have my Oklahoma State Thunder just wiping the floor with the Lakers. It was always what's gonna happen when the supporting cast falls apart for the Lakers. It was bound to happen. That was kind of the story of the Lakers postseason, and they just ran into absolute buzzsaw of the Thunder. Austin Reeves was not good in this series. That was the biggest.
That's it.
That was it.
That's it.
And
without Luka, and you don't have, and Reeves playing as poorly as he did, without really any guard scoring, LeBron being the only one showing up,
Yeah.
there's just no way. There's no way.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to shout out AJ Mitchell. He was phenomenal in game 4, 28 points on 12 for 19 shooting, complimenting Shea in a big way, game 4. But it was kind of a dominant series, not too much to harp on. For the haters on TikTok, I actually did watch these games, so I do know what I'm talking about. But yeah, dominant performance by the Thunder.
Yeah.
The fact people are arguing in our comments about us not knowing ball because we don't like how much flopping they do. I mean, you just have to watch one play where Shet, I can't remember what game it was, but he acted like he got karate chopped in the throat and there's like nothing there. So, I mean, it's fun seeing my team be this good. And I think what frustrates me the most is they don't have
Yeah,
to
that's it.
do what they do.
They are
Like,
the best team.
There's no denying Shea Gilgeous is one of, if not the best player in the NBA. And the fact he does the James Harden is just the most frustrating. That's why I don't like James Harden, haven't for years. So frustrating for sure.
No, they don't need to. They're the best team. They play incredible team basketball. They are incredibly deep. Doesn't matter. Next guy in, they have every piece off the bench. They have selfless like it's quite literally just that they do, and it's frustrating to watch.
Yeah, like everything.
And now also, like we've said multiple times, they are the best team, and they probably sweep this series even if they don't play the way they did. That's not the reason they won the series. They will beat very much every team in the NBA without. It's just
that is correct, and that brings up an interesting conversation, Tanner.
Okay, let's have it.
Is this the last we've seen of LeBron James?
I don't think so. I don't think there's any way, and this is not a shot at him. This is not a shot really at anybody. This is just the facts. I don't see a way in which it's an announced retirement. I don't see a way. The idea of this retirement tour, it's a buzzword thrown around, which I just because it's the best way to describe it. I don't think a player of his magnitude doesn't even seem like the right word because magnitude kind of implies that there is any other people comparable. Like he is NBA basketball. He is professional basketball. He is the NBA. NBA is LeBron. He's larger than basketball. When I see LeBron do something, obviously, other than just a clip of him on the court, my first thought isn't basketball. My first thought is that's LeBron. He is bigger than basketball. I don't think there's any way he doesn't savor every last moment of his last season.
Yeah. Agree. 100%.
I don't think he's gone. But, Bronny's getting playing time in the NBA. Maybe there's an argument there that but I just don't see it.
Yeah. If he's gonna want the big walk-off tour, like there's no doubt in my mind he will be playing NBA next year. And it's not like his game has fallen off, like
because his contract's up, right? That's another wrinkle, right?
I believe so. I'm not 100% sure on that. But like he was still hooping in the playoffs. Like he hasn't deteriorated. I mean, obviously he's not 2011 LeBron where he's dunking on people, but
his contract is up.
Yeah. Okay, so that adds a little bit of a wrinkle, but it's just a very interesting storyline going into the offseason when a player of LeBron's history and caliber, I just don't see him hanging it up without a
Yeah.
big party of a season.
I don't think
And
anyone's
at
going to
the
be
level
surprised.
he's playing too.
Yeah.
Like it's not like he's
And he was,
no offense to Dwayne Wade, but like his last
yes.
season wasn't.
And it's not like his body is deteriorating either.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he's not as fast, strong, and I mean, just not. No, he is just as strong. He's not as fast and quick and can't jump as high as he once did, but he's healthy, he's strong, and obviously he's performing. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. But anything else on the NBA playoffs, man?
I had two things I want to talk about, or one thing about the playoffs and one thing about the NBA, which
Okay.
I think you know where I'm
Oh yeah.
going with the. Do you want to tackle that first?
Let's wrap up playoff talk and then I think
Okay.
I know where you're going.
Okay, because I want to have a conversation about Joel Embiid. I know, obviously, I do want to bring it back to the 76ers because they got embarrassed. They got embarrassed this series. Now, I don't know if this is a conversation for the front office because I think we were all surprised by the Jared McCain trade and didn't make much sense. And obviously, they could have used a player like Jared.
Yeah.
But we are on year, what, 8, 10 of the process.
Yeah.
The process. Joel Embiid, after game 3, which they lost at home, New York without OG Anunoby, said quite literally to the media about the Knicks having 32 free throws and the Sixers having 16, saying, an exact quote, he says, I guess it's good when New York wins. The Philadelphia 76ers enacted the hack-a-Mitch strategy.
Yeah.
They were fouling on purpose to get Mitch to the line. Now, they fouled, I believe he shot 8 extra free throws due to hack-a-Mitch. That is obviously 8 free throws. Subtract that out. That's 24 to 16. Believe it or not, the team who fouls on purpose, they're more likely to end up with the opponent in the bonus.
Yeah.
In my opinion, now this is obviously the opinion of a Knicks fan, take it for what it's worth. 8 more free throws is a relatively reasonable amount in general. But specifically for a team who is the victim, I'm using that air quotes, victim of like intentional fouling is certainly within the realm of possibilities. And to say that, I guess it's good when New York wins, when the Knicks are like hilariously one of the franchises who have just never gotten the benefit of the doubt with anything in the NBA. Now, they are a bad franchise, don't get me wrong, but in terms of like lottery and all that stuff that could possibly be rigged for them, they have gotten the short end of the stick every single time.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid, let me make one thing absolutely clear. Losing is weaved through Joel Embiid's DNA. He is a grade A1 bona fide loser. All he does is lose. And the 76ers with Joel Embiid on that team will forever lose. They have some fun, exciting pieces. Tyrese Maxey's very fun. VJ Edgecombe, super young. He looks like he's 12 on the court. What is he, 19 or 20, something like that? He's super young. Those guys are some good pieces to build around. Joel Embiid's entire brand, the idea of the process, is built around losing. The process is tanking so we can get a better draft pick that manifested itself. Ben Simmons, who, guess what, turned out to be a loser. Joel Embiid is all about losing. These comments are of a loser, and he is a grade A1 loser. Thank you for coming to my TED.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a wild statement. When you implement a hack a shack and just some numbers to back up your statement. When Joel Embiid plays in the playoff they do have a losing record. There's only been 3 years where he has won more games than he's lost in the playoffs. 32 and 34, but uh, in the playoffs in his career. So very interesting. But yeah,
Yeah, and
I
it's unfortunate the way the injury bug has taken his body, but certainly in his current state, he is a net negative. He cannot defend, he cannot move, he can't do anything. And his whole personality, his DNA, his brand is built on losing. And the 76ers will forever not win when Joel Embiid is their franchise cornerstone. It's just how it is. Build around the young, exciting guards who are awesome, by the way, who are awesome. I hate the 76ers more than anyone. They're awesome. Joel Embiid sucks, is a loser. You just cannot build around that guy. He sucks. He's
Yeah.
a loser.
Yeah, it is interesting that the 76ers just refuse to adjust their franchise around because Maxi is so freaking good.
Maxi Edgecombe.
He should be the face of a franchise.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
Like why? I
appreciate y'all giving up McKay for nothing.
So. No, that's a knock on the front end or the front office. Not necessarily on Embiid. But yeah, I don't. I laid out everything. You got the numbers. This guy, you just can't continue to put your faith in him. Obviously, he's your franchise player forever. Cut bait. He's done. He's toast. Like don't bring me all these stats. Like sure, whatever. He can put the ball in the basket, but in his current state, he doesn't have the physical capabilities to win. He certainly does not have the mentality to win. Listen to what he says.
Yeah. He's definitely one of those players that will not lead you to the promised land. That is 100% accurate. Should we talk about the lottery though?
Yes, we do have the lottery. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if that was where you were heading, but Washington, the Wizards, the Jazz, the Grizzlies, the Bulls, and the Clippers round out the top five. Indiana, that is a tough story. Obviously, Halliburton getting injured last year playoffs. They just pack it in, go 19 and 63 on the season. The second worst record in the NBA, behind the Wizards, and they don't get a pick till
they ended up losing it because it was top four protected.
Yeah.
They did not fall in the top four. They lost it.
So
yeah, they got number 5, which ended up going to the Clippers in the Zubats trade.
Yeah.
Now, look,
that's
I understand.
They don't have a first rounder.
Yeah,
anymore.
It's unfortunate if you're a fan. Obviously, you want to get as many good picks as you can, but like the response to it's kind of been crazy because like this is not an aimless franchise who's in need of a good player.
Yeah,
like this is a one-off due to injury tank job to try 100%. And get another good player that wasn't rewarded. And like I don't know, like obviously it sucks. The injury to Halliburton sucks, and if you viewed this player as reward for this potential player that you would get with a high pick as reward for enduring a game 7 in the NBA Finals injury and year directly after that of having to suck because of that injury, fine. But let's not pretend this is anything other than an injury-induced tank job to try and capitalize on a contending window by adding another young player. So, you know, I don't feel bad really at all because you have plenty of pieces of the franchise.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you could be teams like Brooklyn, Sacramento, who's even they're 6 and 7. I mean,
if you're the only thing working for them though is that they at least have it because this is a deep draft, and the Pacers would have been like ecstatic to add the number 5 pick to this team
100%.
because it is such a deep draft. Now the GM recognized his error, and surely you saw his apology. He said that on Twitter, or excuse me, X. I'm really sorry to all our fans. I own taking the risk. Surprised it came up 5th after this year. I thought we were due for some luck, but please remember this team deserves a starting center to compete with the best of them next year, and we've always been resilient.
Yeah.
Referencing his trade to get Zubats.
So. Yeah, 100%.
Zubats is good, man. Like I don't think this is some devastating blow. Maybe I'm out of line here. I know there's some other things that play with the health of Halliburton. But if and when he comes back healthy with Zubats, with all of their role players that were so good for them in their run to the finals last year, this team's gonna be fine.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fine.
100%. Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I do probably think we should touch on some unfortunate news in the NBA world. We actually had 2 unfortunate deaths in the NBA announced today.
Yeah,
Sam, and Brandon Clark, who was on the Grizzlies and put together a promising young career in his early years as a rookie and sophomore, and then on. It was announced he had passed. It was announced today. I actually don't know when the date of death was, but super unfortunate news. And then we learned that Jason Collins, who was the first openly gay player in the NBA, passed today as well due to brain cancer.
Yeah, sad, man. Very sad. I mean, it like, I was at a loss for words. Shocked. For sure.
Yeah. So certainly worth mentioning them. May they rest in peace. And the NBA world is definitely, heartbroken with a couple of bad news.
Yeah.
Today.
100%. Anything else to wrap up this episode?
I mean, we can do just another quick MLB update. Mets still suck. In case you're wondering, they called up their number 2 prospect. Their number 1 prospect actually started the year with the team. So number 2 prospects now on the team. I think they're realizing that the current makeup just isn't good enough. So they're going to call up the young guys and see if they can spark something, or at least see what they have. So that's somewhat noteworthy.
Yeah. Cubs, after the hot streak, have dropped 2 in a row to the Rangers, and now they're facing the hottest team in the MLB, Braves. Little three-game stand. It'll be interesting.
In Atlanta too, right?
Yeah, in Atlanta, but we'll see. They got skunked the last 2 games. Gotta get the bats going for sure.
No doubt about it. We also had a groundbreaking trade, Sam. I'm just double checking that this is in fact as groundbreaking as I think it is. But Patrick Bailey to the Guardians. Now I know what you're saying. Like, what are you talking about? It's just some catcher who's frankly not all that good. He's a very good defensive catcher, not all that good an offensive player. Well, in return, the Giants received a prospect named Matt Wilkinson and the 29th overall pick in the upcoming draft here in, I believe it's in June or July. I don't know. Sure what it is, but I believe that's the first physical draft pick to be traded in MLB history.
Yeah.
And that is something new, actually. It's not it's a new phenomenon allowed in MLB. So yeah, maybe we'll see it used more often, because obviously in baseball, so often prospects are the ones being traded and not the actual picks, because it wasn't allowed. But now it is, and we had our first pick traded, and a first round pick for a defensive catcher was definitely, I think it was consensus among the baseball world that it was pretty good work for Giants GM Buster Posey
Yeah.
to get a first round pick back for the catcher. But yeah, just a new era in baseball. And speaking of a new era in baseball, today on the Tuesday the 12th, MLB and the MLBPA, the players union, officially started having first met regarding the expiring collective bargaining agreement at the end of the season and the largely expected impending lockout. So they're starting to meet, Sam. Maybe they can get something done in a surprise fashion. I know the WNBA did something similar where everyone thought there was going to be a lockout. Turns out there wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how those talks go for sure.
So I think that's how we'll end. We'll at least end every episode. We'll give our Mets and Cubs highlights.
There you go.
And it's pretty much always going to be Mets still suck.
Yeah. But yeah, talked a lot about this episode. In this episode, obviously, NBA was at the forefront. Our team's advancing to the conference finals. Yeah, dominant performance by our two squads. Interesting matchups.
Now we get to rest.
And we'll see the true rest over rust storyline with our two squads coming up. But that is going to wrap it up for episode 215. You can follow the pod on X, Instagram, TikTok at crunchtime_pod. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube, Crunchtime with the N326 duo. We mentioned it in the past. We're going to be doing a little more lives this summer once the NBA playoffs kind of wrap up. Going to be going live a little more, so make sure you subscribe on the YouTube. But the clock has run out on this one, but we'll see you on the next one on Crunch Time.
I'll see you.